Hi guys, alright, it's been a while since I did a repair video. I've been so busy with life and actually just doing repairs and selling gear and, keeping up with work and music and everything else. I just haven't had time to make a video. But I wanted to make one today because I've got a Proteus 2000 here that I want to replace the encoder on. And I want to show you guys how to replace the encoder. It's the most common failure, a part of failure on these units. The pots rarely ever fail, as well as the tacks, but the encoders almost always fail. Um, they get used the most. So, yeah, I want to show you guys how to do it, and then also, where to buy them. And if you're looking to just buy one, the link is in the description. I have several for sale in my shop. And yeah, I'm going to show you guys how to do that. That's not too difficult. Tools you need are soldering iron, some wick comes in handy to soak up excess solder, a solder sucker can come in handy as well, and then of course a Phillips head screwdriver. And then yeah, obviously you need your new encoder. Yeah, just one more real quick thing, just a little housekeeping here. If you guys subscribe for music, I've got a new track coming out soon. I'm just finalizing the mix. Hopefully this weekend I can get it wrapped up um, and get it posted. So yeah, all right guys, let's dive in. First thing I'm going to do here is just take all the screws off from the outside and we'll pick it up after I'm done there. All right, so if you have rack gears on, you can leave the rack gears on because that at that point these two screws don't go in deep enough to dig into the inner frame. All right, guys, so we got all our screws out, and now what we want to do is just pop the back this top frame off, and you just kind of want to pull back on it, and then yeah, this front might give you a little trouble. Just just pull back until you can get it out, and then get this out of the way. All right, so the next thing we want to do, well, first of all, here's our power supply, our RAM chip, our ROMs. Here's where you can expand. This has got a composer installed. If you want, you could throw 3 more in there. Anyway, yeah, let me show you. The next step is to get these 4 silver screws out of the sides here. So it's just these guys, and we're going to take this front plate off. So we're going to pop that screw. All right. So now you can see we're kind of free here. I'm going to go ahead and undo all the cables. These are pretty simple. They just kind of wiggle right out. Sometimes this one's a little stuck. All right, let's get the backlight off first and then try to get a better grip on this. There we go. I didn't want to pull on the cable. I wanted to pull on the actual, when it's really tight like that, I want to pull on the actual. Oh, there we go. Don't want to tear the cable. Usually they're a lot easier than that. So this one here, you just want to, this is a magnet that the encoder cable runs through, I guess to keep it working properly. So you just want there's a little clip on there. It just really simply just, kind of pops right off of your fingernail. And then you separate these magnets a little bit and just slide that cable right out. Now, before you can take this off, you got the power button is attached to this black shaft here. So you just pull and take the power button off just like that. And now we're completely free. So we're going to take this and get it out of the way. And we're going to pop our encoder knob off and just pull. Comes right out. And now we got to undo. Unfortunately, to get in here, we got to take this metal piece off. So that's 7 screws. It's going to zip through these. All right, so we got those 7 screws out. The next step is just to kind of pull this out. This can be a little annoying. You just got to feed the cables through these holes. You know, these cables are pretty rugged, but do your best not to damage them. And that's out of the way now. So we'll just put that over there. And so here, now we're left with this. So we're just going to take, this is the right panel board. We're just going to pop this out. And this is 3 screws. That one's kind of hung up there. All right, let me get this out of the way now. So, yeah, here we go. So, yeah, I can see that this is kind of, I can see why there's a problem with this one. It's if you can see, it's kind of tilted. This corner's pushed down, this corner's pulled up. And if you look like this way, I don't know how much you can see from that angle, but from this angle, you can definitely see it's kind of wonky. So anyway, gonna go ahead and fire up this soldering iron here and get that heated up. Pull that in. Now, the one thing you really want to be careful of is you don't want to melt your cable. It's really easy to do, and it's really fast. So let me just try and get that out of the way. And so what I usually do to pop these out, so we have these 2 anchors and then the 3 pins that are used, ground, positive, and then the sweep. So I start with the anchors, and what I usually do, what I find is the easiest way to do it is just put a little extra solder, fresh solder on there. So I'm going to hit this one first, and then I'm going to pull this way on the encoder to pop that anchor out. And I want to make sure that I have full heat. That's why I'm going to put some fresh solder on there, make sure it melts everything, and pop that out so that when I pop it out, I don't pull out the pad, which is the little ring that it goes in. So let's just put some fresh solder here. Won't be a big deal. It's going to like put way too much on. All right, so there's way too much. Fine. That's going to make my life easier. So I'm going to heat that up now. It's always easier when you add some fresh. So there we go. So that, it didn't come all the way, but it came a good bit of the way. You can see I got it. There's still a little bit left in there, but I can't get it all the way on the first try. I mean, maybe you could, but the thing you want to do is kind of walk it out. So I'm going to do this side now, walk it out a little bit, and then I'll be able to pop the other side all the way out. So same thing, just put way too much on there. And then pull. It's a little hard to do with just 2 hands, but that's the way it goes. All right. And I want to get that out a little more. So let's just go again. Again, make sure it's good and hot. You don't want to mess the pad up. There we go. I just can't get leverage. All right. All right, so I should be able to get this other side out now, all the way out. Yep, there we go. And now that side's all the way out, I should be able to easily get this side all the way out. There we go. All right, so now we got, those are both out. There may be a little bit of, I think it's still kind of connected there. Yeah, it's still kind of connected on both of them, actually. So I'm going to get rid of some of this extra solder. That's probably what's going to make this easier at this point, just in this particular circumstance. So I'm just going to get my little solder sucker ready, and then probably going to hit this one first because it's got so much on it. That wasn't the best technique, but I'm just trying to get some of it. All right, well, now these are going to come out a lot easier because it's just not. The problem is, as I'm pulling on it down, the solder is just like flowing down like a waterfall and keeping the anchor attached. There we go. Okay, now we're totally free. Getting the thing out is always the hardest part. Putting in the new part, super easy. So there's 3 pins here. Now you could. Normally when I have multiple pins, I just put a ton of solder on them and pop them all at once. But I've done these a lot of times, and I know I can get this right one out, and then I can get this middle one out, and then I can get the other one out. So I'm just going to do it that way because I've done it before. And these ones, I don't think I need to add any solder to these. They're so little; they heat up so fast. Let me take my glasses off so I can see better up close now for this. Yep, see there that goes. Make sure you heat it up all the way. You don't want to pull that pad out. And then I'm going to get this one. Okay, so I didn't get this one out all the way yet. Now it's out all the way. Now I can get this one out. Yeah, he wants to come out, but I can't. I'm not getting enough leverage there. I think I got a little bit more on this one. Just go slow and make sure you heat it up all the way. All right, that's totally free now. So this one should be, yep, ready to cooperate. Come out. And then finally, I'll just kind of putting pressure so that when I heat this one up, it pops this one out. Yep, there we go. Okay, so we got the part out. This is actually good, maybe a good part. Someone just, yeah, that's kind of damaged now. I'll save it in case I'm ever hard up for one of these. But let's get our new part. Well, the first thing we want to clean these first so that they're ready. So, easiest way to clean these on this unit is just to hold that up about like that. Actually, I'm going to flip it over, so I don't want this cable in my way. And take your little solder sucker. You could also use a wick. You know, a wick. I could just wick these. That's an easy way to do it too. But it's easier with the sucker, I think. So you just go to the hole. Get your sucker nozzle ready on this side. Your heat on this side. Why is that not heating up? I don't know why that's not heating up. I might have to wick this one. I don't know why it's. Okay, you want to go through there. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know why that was being so difficult. I'm probably gonna have to wick that one. That's okay. I'll try the sucker on the others. That came out nicely. Maybe it's already out. No, there's something going on with. I'm gonna wick all these actually. Yeah, let's just get to the wick. The sucker's leaving like a little tiny piece there for some reason. So I know if I wick them, it'll just come right out. Do whatever's left over here. So just do that until your wick changes color and it's got all that. Yeah, this is actually a lot easier than the sucker today. All right, those are nice and clean. Get that. Pull it out quick or else you're going to solder it to the board. All right. So you can see now we've got it's really nice and clean. There's no extra solder, and because I went slow and did everything properly, all our pads are still there. That's a little silver ring. If you pull one of those out, you can repair it. You have to jump. That one I don't know where it goes. I'd have to figure it out. It might just be ground. If you pulled one of these out, you can still put the pin through, and then you take a razor and scrape off the trace that it goes to, jump a wire to it. I've done it. It's a pain in the butt, but every once in a while it happens. Anyway, we didn't pull any pads. We did this properly. So now we're just going to take our new part and get it in there, line it up. And what I don't want to do is what was wrong with the last one is have it wonky. So I'm going to make sure it's nice and sitting properly. It's got these little back legs on it that kind of keep it from going too far back, but you want to make sure it's centered. So I'm actually going to do it like, I'm going to do one anchor and then seat that anchor properly. As you can see, it just wants to move all over here. Let's maybe put that there. Actually, this is a good way to do it because I can see. I'm just looking in like at an angle here so I can see what I'm doing. As long as it doesn't move and we get one anchor in, we're going to be golden here. It moved. All right, let's just get one anchor in, and then we can adjust if we need to. Yeah, I can see it's moving. It's fine. I think I got it on the first try, to be honest, but let's see. Oh no, I absolutely did not get that. It's all kinds of wacky. All right, you can see how it's tilted. So this happens. That's why you do one, just do one anchor at a time. So I'm just gonna, I'll seat this properly. So I need to just come forward. All right, we're good to go now. I'm gonna hit the other anchor. And just make sure one more time. Yeah, just making sure it's level. Oh, come on, it can be a pain sometimes. There we go. Gotta make sure it's still seating properly. Yep, all right, now I'm gonna really, I barely put solder on that first one, so now I'm gonna just really get it good. I was just seating it. Now I'm gonna bury it. There we go. All right, super simple. This is seated perfectly. So I'm just gonna get my 3 pins now. And you don't really need to see this as much. I can't really position the camera so that you can see through the magnifying glass. I've tried that in other videos, but for my own sake, I'm gonna use my magnifying glass. When you buy a soldering iron, soldering, whatever you want to say, definitely get one with a magnifying glass. It makes these tiny little pins so much easier to see. Why does this not want to go down enough? There, okay. All right, so yeah, it'll just be easier to see that I'm doing it properly. It doesn't matter so much when the pins are really far apart like this. A lot of the times though, the pins are super close together and you gotta have a magnifying glass to make sure that you're not, you don't have any spillover to the next one. One, two, three. Just like that. Turn the iron off, get it out of the way. And there we go. Seated properly, brand new part. Now it's just a matter of putting it back together. So we're gonna go ahead and get this out here. Now one thing you wanna make sure, sometimes these little lights get bent when you're mucking around like that. And just make sure they're all straight, and they are. So I know they are. I'm good to go. This is 3 screws, and these are the non-machined plastic screws. You know, they have a much wider thread, right? And just pop this guy in. And just make sure all your lights are in the right spot, and then just get 1 screw in. Actually, I should have put the screw on the screwdriver before I did that. Yeah, it's always smart to get 1 screw ready. There we go. There we go. Nice and tight. All right. And put our encoder on. Make sure everything's lined up properly. Yeah, that's nice. Because before it was wonky, and it was like there was a gap, and it was just wasn't right. Perfect. This is a really good looking unit as well. I mean, this thing looks like it's hardly been used. It's one of the better conditioned ones I've ever seen. So anyway, it's gonna go in reverse now. I know I need 7 screws for this next part, so I'm gonna get those screws out. 1, 2. And your headphone jack goes through the smaller hole. Your power button's on the larger hole. And yeah, I mean, the cable holes are going to line up too. So you just feed your cables back through. Again, it can be kind of annoying, but part of the process here. Get that out of the way. Get that out of the way. All right. That's good to go. Let's get a screw lined up here. All right, now I'm going to get my 4 machined screws out. So 1, 2, 3, and number 4, you are machined, yes. And by machined, I mean these are nice tight threads for machine. You know, they're made to go into metal, not plastic or wood. And these are the screws that hold this back onto the main kit here. So let's get this stuff out of our way. Bring up our synth. And so these 2 pieces of metal here go inside of these 2 pieces. So they don't go on the outside, they go on the inside. And the thing you want to just watch out for is make sure that goes through this little, the power button, whatever you call it, extension there. Make sure that goes through the hole, everything lines up properly. And I'm just going to get some screws in. Now, I'm not going to tighten these all the way yet. I'm just going to get them in. And then I'll show you why I don't want to tighten them all the way yet in a second. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go back to where I started now. The reason I said don't tighten them all the way, you want to make sure you put pressure on this. If this piece is angled down, like, I don't know, it's probably so slight you can't see it, but if it's angled down like that, you're never going to get the top back on. The top needs to slide above this and under the plastic. So in order to do that, you want to make sure you just lift, put pressure up on this piece and down on this piece so that you're putting pressure up on this, so that when you tighten your screws, it's in the up position. Therefore, when you put the top back on, it's going to slide right under that piece of plastic without any issue. And you'll see when I put this back together, that's what it does. Now I'm going to really tighten these. Putting some pressure to lift that piece up. Now I'm really going to tighten. And I'm going to really tighten this one as well. Looks like somebody had some trouble with this one at one point. That will take care of that. All right, yeah, we're good to go. Now that it's secured, let's go ahead and reattach our cables. This is really simple. Just don't misalign them and then, end up pushing. If you don't align it properly, like say you're one over from where you need to be, it'll go on, but it'll just push these, either this set of pins or this set of pins, it'll just push them out of the way. So don't do that. Just take your time, make sure everything's lined up properly before you push down. Might be a pain. There we go, there's that one. I'm gonna do the backlight for the LCD. You may not be able to see so well, but it's not rocket science. You can't screw this up. The cable won't go in the wrong spot. Yeah, I guess you could put it on backwards, but I've never done that. Just go with the natural flow of the cable. So, whoops, I got more than I bargained for when I pulled that clip out there. You want to this one now, you want to just slide this back in between the two magnets the way it was before. It'll naturally go there. And get your clip and just, so the clip's got this angled side and the flat side. I just start with the flat and then just push the angled side on and then slide it into place so that it holds those two magnets together. And this one curves around and goes in here. Bit of a weird configuration, but this is what they did. If there's anyone you're going to misalign, it's that one. And then last but not least, don't forget I don't want to forget our mic cable here. I guess we're going to go like that. No, that was totally missed. There we go. All right, now let's test real quick and make sure that our encoder is good to go. I know it's good to go, but I'm going to go ahead and pull over a power cord. Be careful, don't electrocute yourself. I don't recommend doing this when they're open, but I've done this 1,000 times, so I'm not worried about it. Just going to put this piece in, and then I'm just going to turn it on. You see lights flash across that. That means that part's connected properly. And now our encoder should work perfectly on this unit. So let's just scroll. We can go fast. No skipping. Yeah, absolutely works perfectly. And that's it. Unplug. I just say do that, like test it before you put it all back together, because sometimes something goes wrong. You either misalign this cable, or who knows what it could be. So always test before you put it all back together. So the one thing to show you here, when you're putting the power button back on, you can see that I can have the slice going vertically or horizontally. It's always better to go vertically. And then you just kind of put it back on this little peg here. And it's not going to want to go on, but you just push down all the way, and there you go. Yeah, that's nice. That's on there now. Now, let me get the back plate and show you. We want to get our cables out of the way, make sure our power cable's out of the way here. It all should be. And we're going to slide this back on. Kind of start like around here. This is going to be a bit of a pain to get it to go. Yeah, it's going to be a pain. I think I went a little too late there. So it's best to kind of like See, we have a little gap. Try to seat it there and then slide it in. Now I can slide it right under this top piece because I made sure I lifted up on it and it's nice and tight. I'm not fighting it. I'm not going to break. Some people don't do this and they push real hard and then it breaks this piece or it splits it here. It's very common to see that. So yeah, at that point, you just get a screw into it and it's pretty much not going anywhere. You can just spin it around and get all the rest of them in there. So anyway, guys, that's the video today. Wanted to show you how to do this. And also, yeah, I have a lot of these for sale. So if you need an encoder, I'll throw a link in the description to where you can buy them. Actually, I'll throw the link to my shop. I got a ton of stuff for sale, actually. This unit I'm going to put up. I've got another one that's up. It's not quite as in good of a shape as this one is. I've got a bunch of ROMs for sale. I've got some virus synthesizers coming in that I'm going to sell. Depends on what I need to do with them next week. Anyway, I got a bunch of stuff, so I'll put some links, a link in the description, and then yeah, I'll put a link. So if you want to buy an encoder, the right part for this unit, at a good price with good shipping. So. All right, guys, that's about it. I'm just going to zip through the rest of these screws here, and then I'll catch you in the next video.